Hey everybody, thanks for joining again. Well, the saga continues. We've been in Moose Pass now for about 2 weeks. It took a week of stressful phone calls between us and Dexter on even trying to get a commitment as to when they can fix our trailer and when the axles would come in. We finally got the response, a week ago or so, that said that July 9th the parts would be available to install. So now at least we have a date and we're quite a bit more relaxed than we were. But it means that we're going to be stuck in Moose Pass for about 23 days, which is a really long time to be stuck somewhere. But on the positive side, we have access to Seward, Homer, Whittier, and a few other places. On the downside, just outside of Sterling, there's a wildfire that was started by lightning, and in Alaska here they tend to leave them burn. They don't tend to manage them unless they get close to a city environment. Well, in the time that we've been here, that fire has spread to 48,000 acres, so it's a huge fire. I think it's the largest one on record for this area. So although we made it to Homer, and I'll show you some video of our trip to Homer, it's difficult for us to get back to Homer at this point because that fire is between us and Homer. Here's the little town of Moose Pass that we've been staying at. When we arrived, it was they were celebrating the summer solstice, so they had several bands that played all day long. I think it went on for 2 days actually. Arts and crafts, some food, a beer garden. Pretty nice. Just a good way to relax, and the community all came together here. With a little spot, if you have an axe to grind, this is the place to do it. We got a water wheel here, and off the water wheel comes the grinding rock. So I don't have an axe, but I think it's perfect for trimming your fingernails. So here we are at Trail Lakes. Great little spot when the weather's clear. Of course, as I mentioned, there's smoke always in the air. There's a place where the planes can dock over by the lodge, and this is a really active spot for planes. I don't know if these guys are commuting to work every day, but every day there must be at least I don't know, 4 or 5 planes that land and take off, and we are starting to see the same ones over and over again. The Alaskan Railway also runs on the far side of the lake from us, so it's walking distance to go check it out every day. So at about 10 o'clock in the morning, the train comes through headed towards Seward, and then again, I think it's around 4:30 or so, it comes back again. And occasionally there's been a freight train using the lines also. So we've been to Seward twice so far. Quaint little town. It's got a nice little old downtown section. It's got the tourist section, of course, and then It's got the wharf area where all the fishermen bring in the catch of the day. You know, we hung out and walked around the wharf and saw a sea lion or sea otter. Pretty cool place. There's a little river that comes into to the fjord, and these gulls were all just kind of hanging out, and they're eating some kind of little fish or something. I mean, I could catch a glimpse of it, but I couldn't tell really what it was. And it was funny because it'd all just be kind of standing around, and all of a sudden it'd all go really crazy. Milepost 0 for the Iditarod trails in Seward, Alaska. It's a 940-mile trail. It takes about 8 to 15 days for 14 dogs to pull the sleds up to Nome, Alaska. This is an area where the salmon are coming upstream, and we talked to a guy that was working there. He says they let 15,000 go through to do their spawning and stuff like that, and that's supposed to be about 3 times as many fish as they need. But everything else they catch and they send to market. We arrived at the Exit Glacier area and hiked up a long washout area. It must have been a couple miles long to finally reach the edge of the glacier. A massive amount of water is coming out of here, and you would think that glacier water would be clear, but it's actually not. It's this gray, mucky looking water, and it's called rock flour, and it's all the ground up rock that's in the water that turns it that color. You really can't filter it or drink it or anything, and it doesn't even settle out. So we drove from our home base over to Homer, which goes through the Sterling area. Since we've made this trip, that road has been closed quite a few times due to the fire. When we passed through, there was no fire visible to us, but there was a 20-mile section of construction going on. So the touristy part of Homer is out on what they call the Spit, which is really a peninsula. And this is pretty much the extent of the town right here. There's water on both sides. It's not very wide. Lots of little shops and crafty places. You can get lunches and so on and so forth. So no trip is complete without going to the Salty Dog Saloon. So those of you that are History Channel buffs, this is part of the Deadliest Catch. They filmed inside this building. It was originally built in 1897. So the tradition is, of course, to write your name, etc., on a dollar bill and stick it to the wall. So there's one there for us, and those of you that follow behind us will have to find it. Okay, so this is where you put the end on the video.
What? I don't really have anything to say. We didn't get any pictures at Land's End. I tried to get pictures of the birds attacking you. So.
Boy, you got nothing to say about the last week of our trip?
Nope, nothing.
Oh, gosh. All right, well, if you liked our video...
Seriously, were you recording that?
Yeah.
You're not putting that in there.
I am.
No.
If you like our video...
hit the like button and subscribe.
See you next week.